Today we're going to talk about clearing away the clutter. What do I mean about clutter? There's a lot of things in our lives that just fill our lives full of all kinds of information and stuff, especially in this digital age where we can get online and just get all kinds of ideas. I call it living life by meme. And so these memes come into our lives and they give us all these ideas and the stuff that tells us how the world is around us. And then we begin to formulate our worldview and the way that we see life based on all of these kind of inundation of all these things. There's stuff on YouTube, and there's stuff through Google, and there's stuff through our social media networks, Facebook or Twitter or whatever other platform that might be the hottest thing today. And these things are where we may or may not get some of our most important ideas about how the world works. But that's not just all the clutter that we have in our lives. Sometimes there's the religious clutter too. For those of us who have grown up maybe in church or going to church, there's all these different ideas that we have from being Christians all our lives. That we should go to church on Sundays, that we should do worship in a certain way, that there should be 2 fast songs and greeting and an offering and 3 slow songs and a sermon, and that we get attached to these forms and these ways in which we should be, that there's a certain way to dress maybe, or a certain way to act, in order to conform to the way of the culture that we're in. So all these things begin to form the reasons why we are the way we are. Well, quite frankly, these things also can be idols in our lives. Whether they're ideologies or whether they're religious clutter, they become the thing that we value more than Jesus. So Jesus wants us to have a relationship with Him. And it's He that wants to tell us how to live our lives. But oftentimes what happens is Jesus just becomes one of the taglines in our life. Well, Paul had something interesting to say about that in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2. And he says this, "I appeal to you, therefore, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to God, which is your spiritual worship. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, and what is good and acceptable and perfect." So today, as you're thinking about the idea of having an intimate relationship with Jesus, I want you to think about the fact that your mind often is cluttered with all kinds of competing ideas. Maybe you want to think about what some of those competing ideas might be. In the New Living Translation of that verse I just read you, it says that Paul doesn't want you to be conformed or dragged down into the culture of the day. And I think that's exactly what often happens to us. We just get dragged into the culture of our day. But do we actually understand what it is we're being dragged into? So as you go through today, I want you to be thinking of that exact thing. What is it that captures your attention? Is it all the clutter? Maybe we need to do a little bit of tidying in terms of the things that clutter our minds.